But one thing we've really appreciated about GTS is if we feel either like we have a small injury or something a little larger, I always feel like I'm complaining. And if I'm like, oh, my forearm really hurts again, right? But what I've appreciated about all the people, all the coaches at GTS is they take quite seriously that injury is a limiting factor, right? So
Yeah.
I get a lot of input and might be different input from different coaches. Everybody puts their 2 cents in, and then it's really on me to take that back and pursue it. So you've adjusted. I did have bicep forearm pain, and you really adjusted what I was doing so that I could continue building some of that supporting strength, work through it. And I think what I've found is I go so far on each lift that I hit a roadblock, and it might be pain or injury, right? And then it might take a while until I'm back to the level that I want to be at, but then I'm coming through it with a different framework. And
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think you guys are pretty intentional about not allowing that to be an excuse or to be the end for some. That might be the end of really working out, right? Just, oh, I'm injured. I'm not lifting the same amount. I'm going to just take a pass and do something else.
There's a real delicate balance. I've swung the pendulum all different ways as in the last 16 years. Initially, when you first start training, your value proposition as a trainer is I need my clients to succeed. So the metrics are strength that need to get stronger, right? And sometimes what happens is you're rewarding patterns that aren't necessarily ideal for them, but they get a good number out of it, right? They feel good. You feel good because you're like, oh, I achieved this, whatever that is, 225 squat, 315 squat, whatever that number is for each person, right? And so you get a lot of reward. Like a lot of our reward comes from you guys setting PRs, and it feels pretty good for us too when we do testing days and stuff. And then the downside, obviously, is if we keep on letting that happen, eventually someone will break, and then it sets them back 6 months, and so we've seen that pattern over and over again over the years. And so at some point we overcorrected and we had very high standards for everyone. And then almost to the point where it's too slow of a progression that they don't enjoy it. Right. And so we've tried to find this balance of like when we practice something and then, okay, let's test around here to see how this practice is going to transfer over into your testing. And then you get, oh, wow, this actually works, right? And then you've got some buy-in where you can like, oh, I can keep on practicing under a load that doesn't necessarily scare me all the time. And then, so we've tried to like, we basically swung one way or another. And I think a little more centered now and trying to find maybe this early stage, we give you some standards and guidelines. It's all consistent. We let people deviate from those standards a little bit. And then at some point we have to pull them back in. And usually it shows up on maybe a testing day of some sort. We're like, all right, now we see where you're starting to break. We might need to recalibrate some of these numbers a little bit or recalibrate your form standard. So I think when we talk about progression, sometimes people only think about reps and sets, right? Or weight. And a lot of times improving on a form and getting better muscular control or not having pain in a lift, right, can be a progression as well. Higher form standards, better ranges of motion. So we've expanded our encyclopedia or arsenal of improvements or progressions that we can do with people, right? And so sometimes it, like you said, if you brush up against that injury or your form is starting to degrade a little bit, we might need to take one small step back to take 2 steps forward. I've lived this several times in my life with injury or open heart surgery, whatever, where I had to restart from the beginning. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is actually a good opportunity for me to clean things up, get better control, and then I'll be probably better off for it later. But actually, that's a good segue into June. So you dealt with a back injury at some point in time, right? You were training and then at some point you felt that pop, right?
I did. Yeah, I think being type A, I would say
Yeah.
higher
Yeah.
number. But yeah, even through that back pain, I kept showing up, maybe not at 100%, but like just still showing up to the gym and doing what I can and slowly rebuilding that. I think that was the key. Like,
Yeah.
don't
Controlling what you can
stop.
control, right?
Yeah.
I think whenever someone gets hurt in our gym, we try to schedule some one-on-one time right away. Let's either get you out of pain if we can, maybe work around it if we can, figure out what we can and can't control, and then give you some type of plan to mitigate any type of loss. Because you don't want to lose all this hard-earned strength. We can work around the issue. We can hopefully fix the issue over time. We can get you figure out, diagnose what the problem areas are.